Performance opportunities are
Yeah.
very scarce, and if you don't have them, you also don't get them.
They don't quite willing to take risks with the younger generation because.
Hello and welcome to IETM Global Pod, a brand new podcast series as part of our Global Connect program featuring international conversations to members of our network. Each episode will invite 3 performing arts professionals to dissect a key aspect of their purposes and practices that connect them across different continents, exploring commonalities, differences, and impacts in their local communities and international collaborations. In this episode, Global Connectors Solanyi Robayo Solarte from Chile and Mia Shen from China, alongside moderator Magnus Nordberg from Norway, will go into discussion on how to support and create opportunity for emerging artists. So without further ado, I will hand over the word to them.
Welcome to Global Connect podcast at IETM. My name is Magnus Nordberg, and I am here today with Mia Shen sitting in Shanghai, and Solanyi Robayo called Sol in Santiago. And we will talk today about the different topics around emerging artists and makers and how we can create opportunities for them both. Welcome, Mia and Sol. How are you both doing?
Great.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, really great.
Good. Great to see you. So this podcast is a conversation between 2 invited personas in the cultural field from very different parts of the world, together with IETM members who have been at IETM for a long time, including me. And I'm super happy to do this with the organization. Sol is a Colombian cultural manager and performing arts specialist living and working in Chile. And she now directs the Metropolitan Regional Office of Balmacedo Arte Jovan, called BAI, leading youth arts residencies and educational programs that empower emerging artists and strengthen inclusive cultural ecosystems. And Sol, how long have you been at your position now?
For 2 years right now. Yeah, I started 2 years ago in March, actually. Yes.
Amazing. Great to have you with us. And Mia, sitting in Shanghai, is the founder and creative producer of Mad Attic, with in-depth experience of producing theater, musical, Broadway shows, and other performing arts in the US, UK, and China, and other countries. And as I understand, you founded Mad Attic to explore new and multidisciplinary collaborations and to work specifically with the young generation of theater makers, where you are situated, with a focus on women and minority groups. Great. How long have you had Mad Attic now?
It's been a little bit over 3 years so far.
Congratulations. Amazing. And I am Magnus Nordberg. I run Nordberg Movement, development, production, and agency office specifically for dance and choreography in Stockholm since 16 years back. And we work with artists and festivals and all kind of stuff, all connected to dance and choreography. But let's just start with this before we delve into the emerging artist questions. The 2 of you came up with this beautiful idea of bringing up somebody that inspired you both. Mia, if you had to mention somebody in your career or your trajectory that inspired you, who would you want to mention, or an organization?
I actually have a couple, because my producing career kind of over jungling between the States and then in China. So I feel like a different period, they just have it's a completely different things for a while. So when I was in New York, because I lived there for 5 years, and I was pursuing my master degree, I worked for this Broadway producer called Barbara Whitman. This actually has very much impact on me because when you're thinking of Broadway musicals, for example, you always have certain stereotype of how music probably can be. But the person, she's a female producer, and she always look for niche subject and look for the commercial value out from it. So I was kind of being narrowed down between, a certain type of subject. Sometimes you think you couldn't have like being accepted by a wider generation, but actually she kind of making me see the possibilities, and this affect a lot about like why I want to found Mad Attic. That's exactly what I was doing, and trying to pursue some of the topics which people might not think it's interesting, but I wanted to like bring the story to a wider communities. And so yeah, she has very much impact on me.
Are you still in touch? Do you work together? Are you still connected?
Well, sometimes emails, but then right now I'm in China. It's very different things, but I've always like looked on like what she's producing now, and so it's kind of I look up to her very much. Also, like because as I also see some of the producer around her. For example, there's a producer called David Binder. He was also someone I was quite admired to, because she's kind of like he once was the artist director for band in New York for 5 years, and he is also like jungling between the non-for-profit scene and also the commercial scenes. So I've always kind of see the possibilities, because sometimes people just say, this doesn't make money, or this will make money. People have this stereotype, but what I saw like on them is like sometimes the boundary between it is very blurred, and that's what, yeah. So I'm very much like kind of wanted to break that boundary a little bit. That's also what I'm trying to do now in China.
Beautiful. And I think that's such a great thing, that inspiration always also gives you inspiration for your own practice, the way that one comes back to practice one's own work. And Sol,
Right.
who would you want to bring up in this conversation?
I also thinking in a female colleague. The thing is, I was talking with some friends and colleagues like 2 weeks ago about how hard it is to work in the cultural field and the arts fields nowadays in Latin America. And what you do, the work that you love and that you are good at. So they were like kind of congratulate me because I am a migrant and I'm having like a really good job. And I brought this name at the table. Her name is Pamela Lopez. When I met her, she was the programming director of GAM, that is the biggest cultural center in Chile that is focused on performing arts. And the day I met her, that was because she called me for an interview. She was looking for a programming coordinator. She told me afterwards that she had more than 150 people that applied for that position at that point. And we had a really good conversation because she wanted to have like a person that was specializing in performing arts in Chile, but I didn't know much about theater or dance at that point. It was 10 years ago. So it was really interesting because at the end she said like that she saw in me saw other things that wasn't like the thing that I was that I was like expert on. She saw in me the person that I can brought some new perspective on the field, on to this big cultural center that was GAM, because GAM was really brand new at that point. It it also had like 5 years or something like that. We connect also because she was a migrant as well. She went to New York to study for 2 years, and she couldn't stay over there because it was difficult for her. So she kind of opened the doors for me at that point. And that is a thing that I really am grateful for, because not everyone has this opportunity to have the open doors to a new good job and to show yourself. And also that brings me a responsibility to try to do the same for other people's. And I think when I think about emerging artists and the position that I am having now at Balmaceda Arte Joven, that is Balmaceda Young Arts, I think about all the people that I need that opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And I think those connections with strong cultural leaders and all those artists we work with, that combination of this knowledge together and the experience is what really pushes us forward. And I will, before we continue with our deeper questions, my big inspiration in life, or really the pusher in my life, was a Swedish producer, one of the first members of IETM, and an original IETM member, Åsa Edgren, who I worked with when I was very young, and she basically just pushed me out on an airplane and said, "Go and do it," and I did. And this kind of push, of seeing the worth in you when you are very young and just getting that push to do it and be given those opportunities and those door openers, those are so important. And I think that door opening is a really good kind of bridge to what we're talking about today, because so many artists needs in their emerging part of their life, their mid part of their life, but also in their later part of their life, they still need these doors to be opened for them so they can meet an audience, and that's what we're talking about today. Emerging artist is a really interesting wording in one sense. In dance, and especially when late 90s and early 2000, this word was used a lot around artists. Everybody was an emerging artist. This was used in text, in CVs, in descriptions, etc. I always found it a little bit awkward to use the word, because emerging also means that there should be some sort of level or some sort of stop or something like this, and what often happens to those who were emerging artists is that they're at one point start hitting their head on something that they can't kind of go through, etc. You can't be emerging forever, so at one point you go from emerging to something else. What are those things? What are you emerging towards? What are you emerging to? Or what are you aspiring to? So I have a conflicted relationship with this word and what it means, and it's a little bit unclear, but it's also maybe something that we still use in the sector. What would you say? You're in two completely different parts of the world. Maybe we can start with you, Mia. What are the biggest challenges that you think that artists, emerging or not, are challenging, are facing today? And it's a very, very broad question, so maybe you can just philosophize a little bit around this topic for us, Mia.
Yeah, sure. Because I work mostly in theater and dance. So, and I'm based currently in Shanghai, China. So, I could I only be able to bring the Chinese perspective of how the industry are kind of look like now. So for us, most of the I think the biggest challenge the emerging artists are facing probably access and opportunities. Because I kind of like to broaden it a little bit is the platform is not very transparent for people to apply. So a lot of the institution, for example, and also the fund, they are or theater as well, they are more inclined to give the money and opportunities to more like well-known and established artists to build their like projects and to get their projects showed. But rather than like they don't quite willing to take risks with the younger generation, because kind of the theaters and this institution doesn't see like nurturing the emerging artists at their own responsibilities, while they thought it's something like maybe the government funding should be solved. But then if we don't, we rarely actually have fundings for those emerging artists. So a lot of the biggest dilemma as emerging artists here facing is you don't get any fundings. There are very few platforms they actually offer opportunities to as like younger generation and nurturing and the younger artists. They kind of in the name of it, but most of the time it's not really for the purpose of that. Most of the time is, for example, a theater festival have part of the responsibility and part of their public promotion materials as saying we have like younger generation artists, but that's kind of mostly it's something to attract those people to go to the festival to to also see other shows. And the young artists, they will provide very limited resources to get their works showed. But then because there was enough like mentorship and guidance, and sometimes the work is showed and then it kind of stopped there. They are not given second chance, the work not being like critiqued and not being like kind of mentored or discussed between the industries, and they're not giving enough like the chances to grow, and then stop there. And next year maybe the same thing happened again. So most of people kind of like stopped on the level of this theater, like black box level, and they always do like one time and second time, and it's always like that. The production didn't go, and their ability didn't grow, and it feels like they always stopped there, and they didn't got the chance to go to the next level, for example, like medium-sized theater anymore. And so it's very kind of and we're lacking also. So in China, like we have masters, and then we have very younger generation of artists, and the middle level is kind of like lost. We have huge gap because those younger generation, they're not getting the chance to grow, and also the community of it kind of is that diluting like in a way, because also like financial instability is also one thing. When you're not getting enough fund, and you're also not getting enough support from the audience, for example, and people are kind of getting all the isolation and rejection from they always get rejections. So it feels like when in that period, it's just very hard for them to remain in the industry to be able to grow into the next level. That's kind of like the quite very big dilemma we're facing right now.
Thanks, Mia. That's really telling, and it's interesting that many of those topics we are both in very different contexts, but even in a country like Sweden, in a very very macro scale, holds those same issues of how the next opportunity, where do you go in scale, how do you develop, when do you get those resources, etc., etc. Saul, do you recognize anything from what Mia says? Is that mirroring your situation? What is your take on this?
Yes, I was talking with Mia the other day, and we were really surprised how similar context we have, even in each part of this world. So when I think about what Mia is saying, I think about the whole path of the artist. From when they are starting to study a career as an artist, and then finally when they try to like circulating their show and everything. So between that cycle, I think there is a lot of challenges. First, for example, the thing with the study for emerging arts are really like, or in Latin America, it's really difficult to access to education, and especially not everyone can study like arts in Latin America. It's like something that you have to decide it, and to decide that you're going to have like a really difficult path. And most of the people that can start to study in arts is really because they have like a good economical condition. So at that level, you can see that the exclusion starts really early in that path. Then when they graduate, we expect in the industry that they have like they can create like a company. They manage to have a project, to find funds, to understand taxes, to manage the whole project with human resources and everything that compounds. And you have, I don't know, 23 years at that point, or 24, and you have a lot of pressure in this like career that you are trying to like focus on. I want to create, and I want to have like the space to freely experimentate and create, and to have like a good artistic process. And you have a lot of pressure from the outside context. And but you can say like maybe you managed to have it all, to have a study, to create a company, and later you have a good show, and then you have the pressure of the box office. And to understand the audiences and the context, and then you have to understand also how to circulate national and international. So at the end, you have in the whole process for emerging artists and for young artists, you have a lot of holes and breach, and I don't know. So what I'm thinking about is how to build some bridges between them, and so we can like I don't know, maybe take off the pressure of that kind of formal things that they were thinking during the whole process, especially when you need like I don't know, venues for rehearsal, for example, or some money from for the production. Every penny worth at that point, you know.
Yeah.
And to have like I don't know, some tutoring in subjects like administration, taxes, management, circulating, design circulating projects, and that's the kind of thing that we are trying to do from the organization and from the I don't know, some venues that I know, and we are like creating some kind of safe environments for those young artists, to try to low down the pressure in that subject, so they being free or feel free to create, to have a good process, to fail, and not to think because they are the thing that Mia saying, like because they fail in the process, it doesn't mean that you are going to end your career. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. That's a statement of the day. Failure is not the end of your career. It's rather the development of your tasks. That's beautiful. But I'll add another question here for the both of you listening to what you've said. Do you both work in quite a diverse field of the performing arts. This issue of the emerging artists, do you think it's different between musical theater, Broadway, traditional theater, other dance, choreography, like all the art forms? You don't have to go through all of them, but do you feel that there's a difference between the artists' opportunities in the different fields somehow, based on where you are sitting or where you are in your country? That's a good
Yeah,
question.
I was analyzing the other day about. I was comparing because in Balmaceda Arte Joven we work in different fields. We work in theater, dance, music, visual arts, and drama writing. So I was thinking about the difference between musicians and performing artists, and I
Hmm.
think. There is a lot of difference that became the whole path for performing arts really more and more difficult. For example, in music, you have more opportunities to broadcast your music and to show your music without all the pressure of the have a big show and to present the show. The production is faster. I mean, you can have
Hmm.
like a good song, and you can reproduce that song, and you can uh, upload that song in many platforms. But for performing arts, for example, you have to rehearsal for. The whole process is like 1 year at least. So
Yes.
it's really difficult. And the thing that I said just before, the thing you can show your work, but at some point the audience is going to say, I'm going to criticize you, and going to say like, okay, finger up, finger down, and it's going
Sure.
to be the end of that show. For music,
Yeah.
for music is that's not the same. So it's easier. So that's why I'm thinking about most of the time, because in Balmaceda, now that I am 2 years ago that I arrived to that position, I starting to think about long-term residencies for performing artists, like because we select a kind of a group of artists. They don't have to be a company to
Hmm.
present their project. They present an artistic project, and we say like, okay, you are in the first step of your project, and we think that this has like a good future, because I don't know, there is a lot of
Hmm.
um,
A
um,
potential.
yeah, potential. That's a good word. Thank you. It's not like I have a decision to make over here. But
Sure.
yeah, you say like, okay, you can have a free space for rehearsal for 9 months. You also have a
Hmm.
small money for your production, and if you want, just if you want, you can show your work to a safer environment, so we can like have a feedback of with your audiences,
Yeah.
and you can like prove yourself this show, or you can just say like, this is not working. The group of people that I joined together to do this show is not working at all, so we are
Hmm.
going to go in a different ways, and we can say like, you don't owe me anything. This was really good process. Goodbye.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
those feedback sessions are so important for emerging artists, especially when
Mhm.
it's so hard to reach an audience early on. Mia, are those opportunities available in Shanghai? Do you feel that people can test their work on the audience, or is it different for you in your context?
I was actually thinking about like a challenge when I feel like now these days it's actually very become harder and harder for artists to get audience attention anymore, because it's about the whole, like, the information and the internet, AI and everything. There was just so many things, so many contact around, and I think it's a generation of, like, it's an era of an audience, like, fragmentation kind of. So for us as a producer, and also, like, I feel it's getting harder and harder to kind of promote your content, and for the audience as well, like, if you will not be able to take advantage of the internet, for example, in these days, just you kind of limited the chance of you getting no is become harder than usual. This is something I feel strongly, like, in the past, like, couple years. I don't know, like, I mean, if we were getting better, but it's just really difficult.
Yeah, and this is a crucial thing of the lack of interaction between young work and audience, especially in contemporary dance, where I am. It's situated. Performance opportunities are very scarce, and if you don't have them, you also don't get them. This kind of vicious circle of not being able to be visible, and so many young artists get stuck in creating really good work, but they're not being shown enough. So that doesn't circulate those work. Does that ring? Does that mirror?
Yeah, exactly. And if you have, like, put effort to, like, present a piece, and there are only, like, 10 people coming, like, on, like, into the theater. And also, I mean, live performance always depend on, like, the word of mouth is really important. But if it's only, like, 10 people are getting spread your word of mouth, and then the chance of, like, you being heard is just very, very limited. Especially
for sure.
It's difficult than, like, usual.
So
actually,
we spoke about
in that point. Sorry, no. At that point, I have an example also with the music, because I knew the other day, talking with a friend, that here in Santiago there is different kind of venues for young musicians, and it's most of the time is sold out, because audiences in music also are really more open to her and to new artists. But in performing arts, there are a lot of still a lot of I don't know, maybe it's like some block of mind, maybe from the audiences, like they are not too open to go and see. I think I have this perception. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's true. I think it's correct, and I think that's what the real experimental dance choreography performance, if you mind saying that, section kind of lacks, or is suffering in any country. That the audience needs to, unless it's a sector audience, the more general audience needs to be properly introduced and come to this part of going of elevating your craft becomes less and less possible with this. We spoke in the beginning of this word risk, which always comes up, and failing, which I think is really important. And so many of the artists that I work with, and they would say this themselves, they've started making work when they were very young, and of course they've tried and failed and and things grew from this point. Today it feels harder to find those spaces where you can experiment and take those risks. What do you think? How can we create other opportunities for artists to create these safer environments where they can put their the risk taking at the forefront? Do you have any examples or any practices that you use in your work around risk?
Go Mia.
Go Mia.
Go Mia, go.
Okay. I was just coming back from a rehearsal today. It's a new play I was producing, and by a very emergent playwright, and directed by a director, also very young. So we're gonna like open the ticket sale in a couple of days, and I was literally just drafting on what I was gonna say into the audience, because I know like this subject is a little bit provocative in a way, and I was hoping when they come to the like theater, they're not expecting a certain type of like things, because in the theater market in China, like mostly, especially in Shanghai, the audience are getting used to certain type of plays being made. So when they come to the theater, they sometimes will judging the piece by their previous, other experiences. So what I was trying to say, I want to put that in upfront and to let them know, like, what we're trying to do in this piece is to do some experimental things and trying to ask them to bring, like, getting to the theater with kind of an open mind, like to listen to the story. And I feel this is very important to say up front. And if I didn't say it up front, I just don't want the artist to be affected by some of their assumptions, the audience assumptions. And also for the artists as well, I also did some of the work to let them ensure that this production, what we do, I just want, like, as a producer and a presenter, my intention is not making money, because so many younger artists in China that they when they are creating pieces, they will think if the audience will like it, if this will sell tickets, because they don't get fundings from the government. So all we are living is the box office. So that's the result of it, is everybody was worried and everybody wanted the piece to be liked by more people. So we're gonna making some more money to cover the production cost. And everyone was worried about that. So what I'm trying to do with that attic is I want to kind of be in the buffer between it. I want to tell them, like, if this piece is a little bit experimental, if we know that it's not like, some of the family drama, for example, they will, you will liked by a certain type of people, but it's not going to be liked by a larger group of people. But when we know it, we still wanted to do it. So don't worry about the box office that much with this. And I will ensure that when they're creating it, and this is what I'm trying to do, like, kind of being audience-wise, there is something we need to do, and also the creative-wise. They just need to be kind of feel safe to fail. Like if they fail and there is none of the financial risks they should take. And also, like, I'll tell them, like, for first production and also maybe for workshop, it's always fulfilled because you learn through the failures. And if you're not like, if you've already been super successful for the first production, you're probably like, super, you be genius in a way, and people are allowed to fail, and they need to be telling that, and they need some people who are more mature than them and more established in the industry to tell them that, and to also set example to talk about their own feelings. And then they will kind of like build up, their own confidence of, okay, this, if I fail, it's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. I still have another chance. I still can stay in the industry. And
and do different things. I think that, Mia, thanks for that. That's really important. And I think this buffer word is also really important. This kind of these persons in between that can mediate and support this often very emotional journey that becomes. And it's an emotional journey anyway to create art, and then you have all these expectations on it. Sol, how does that mirror with your community?
I really connect with to the whole thing that Mia just said. I think you have to have cultural ecosystem that is responsible for those artists that are growing. I mean, but I worked at GAM, as I told you at the beginning, for 7 years. First of all, as a programming coordinator, and then as a chief of programming. And most of the time, we were when we were selecting the shows that we are going to have every year, every season. We had a lot of small companies or young artists or emerging artists that we said like, I mean, this is really good. But we also have the problem of the box office. So what we are going to do? We are going to have these people in a empty venue during 12 shows. What we are going to do? So how, if we are going to put them on the venue, what is our responsibility as a cultural center and with these artists? Because at the end, also we can put it there, but they are going to have money from the bordero. So do you know what is bordero means? Like the share of the income of the box office? I don't know how to say that.
Yes, like a split fee from the house
Yeah,
between the artist
that's the model that we have in Chile. That, I don't know, 40, 60%, 60% for the artist, 40% for the venue. So that was really like, and we used to call like the mediation team, like say like, so we are going to have this show. So what can we do? And say, no, we can, I don't know, give some free tickets, or they weren't a model, so we can like feel free to expose these artists to the audiences, to the cartel, to the sorry, I said cartel. It's not cartel. It's like the poster, to the poster office. Yeah, to the box office. So when I was working at the beginning in Balmaceda with this, and we create this residencies program, I realized that we needed like a lot of I don't know, to build that ecosystem for the emerging artists. So we try to collaborate with different venues, big venues, so they can like show some of the works that they are doing at Balmaceda. Without the pressure of the box office. So we try to like help them to put like a money from the beginning, so the artists don't have like the pressure of okay, I'm probably I'm not getting anything from this show, so they have to let that pressure out. And they are doing their work, and they are working with a professional, also technicians and staff from other venues that are doing that kind of thing, like are promoting and escalating a professional work for the audiences and connecting with the audiences, with some audiences. So we are like doing a creating team with those venues. That what I mean is like we need like the whole ecosystem involved in that project for create safe environments for emerging artists.
Yeah, and it does take a village to really support, and it should take a village to support also. I think sometimes this sparseness of the emerging artist conditions is a bit of a cliche. Maybe it's the beginning, maybe you need all those big resources in the beginning of your career, and then you can do things in your later stages with less money. Maybe we should twist this. We should put all the big funding into emerging artists' work and then shift this narrative of when and where the resources are needed to create, for sure. Thanks both for sharing this. We're coming towards the end of this beautiful conversation. This might be a bit of a hard question, and you've already mentioned some of it, but if you could choose anything that you feel is an urgent action point from our industry, which we are all part of, what would you mention? You said some things: residencies, resources, opportunities, but are there other things you would like to formulate that could be an action point for the industry? I don't know if you want to start, Mia, freely about this one.
Action point. I don't know. I just actually still thinking about the word Sol was mentioned, the ecosystem, and I think that's kind of it's a really crucial thing. And ecosystem means like there need to be people who are willing to give in the fund, and also there will be like established artists and be able to provide mentorship to these younger artists. And there also need to be like peer community to let the young artists to discuss works and the collaboration, like collaborate freely among themselves. And there also need to be like established producers and like institution to able to really see those emerging artists and to pick them out of, like giving them the next second opportunity, third opportunity to let them grow. And that is also kind of like included to be into one big word is ecosystem. And I do think but it takes a lot of effort to build up, but I think it's very crucial. It's not like one person's thing or one institution's things. And it's kind of like a common kind of need to be, everybody needs to be like really, every culture industry workers need to be really knowing like the importance of it.
Yeah, and I love that.
So
I won't repeat you. Yeah, you said it so beautifully, and I'll just pick up on kind of those in the middle of that of your speech about second and third opportunity, because sometimes I feel like the first opportunity is so much viewed, while it is often maybe the second or the third or the fourth which really brings out the artists, and so forth. So I think I like that second and third opportunity. Maybe we can highlight that for this podcast also. Sol, what are your thoughts? What are your action points?
Adding to that, to just say, Mia, so beautifully. I just wanted to say that maybe if you want new voices, we must support the whole process. The creative process is is a treasure. And if we don't have, if you don't take care of it, we are not going to have a great show to get that first, second, or third opportunity. So it's not the final work; is the whole process that we have to take care of.
Beautiful. That is a great thing. Well, that's our time. Mia and Sol, thanks for your important work in Shanghai and Santiago. Interesting that we are in 3 cities: Stockholm, Santiago, and Shanghai, the S in the beginning of those cities. Hope come and visit us in Sweden. I will hope to come and visit in Shanghai and Santiago for sure. And thanks IETM for organizing this Global Connect series. And it's been a pleasure talking to you both today. And I think we'll end with that.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the IETM Global Pod. If you want to know more about IETM and our Global Connect program, you can head on over to ietm.org. We'd like to thank the IETM associate members and the European Union for co-funding the IETM Global Connect program and making this podcast possible. This podcast was produced by Margarita Petit, Lottie Atkin, Giselle Musabimana, and Ilaria DeMarc, and it was recorded, edited, and produced by Ben Phoenix from Nexi Media.